Good morning, year 9. Welcome back. I hope you had as good a break as you could in the current circumstances. And today we're going to start a new case study for geography. From the title screen, I think it's pretty clear what the topic is going to be for the next couple of weeks. So I think I told you before, but we're going to be studying Brazil. We're going to be doing a case study of Brazil in terms of where is Brazil? What physical features does it have? What culture? What's it like to live there? Basically, a broad overview of the country of Brazil. So, first things first, put your date at the top, and today's key question that you will use as your title is, what are the physical characteristics of Brazil and the features of the Amazon rainforest? So you can pause the video now while you put your date and title. Okay, perfect. So now that's done, we can get started with our starter activity. Oops. Let me move my face out of the way. Oh, let's go over here. So, starter activity. What do you know about Brazil? I want you to write down as many facts as you can in your book, or I've just remembered you don't have your book, so some paper that will be then added to your books. Write down as many facts as possible about Brazil. So what do you know about Brazil? What comes to mind when you think about Brazil in terms of physical features, in terms of culture, food, sport, music, people, anything? What comes to mind with Brazil? I'd like you to also choose one of these facts and comment on the Google Classroom post to share with your classmates so that we can get a bit of interaction between each other. So again, pause the video and please do your starter activity. Perfect. So it'll be interesting to see what you've posted, but Brazil is a very diverse country, and we're going to have a look at some of these features. So if we start now, we're going to have a look first. Where is Brazil? So here's a map of the world. Can you point onto this map? Where do you think Brazil is? So have a look at the map. Where do you think it is? Is it over here? Is it here? Is it here? Well, some of you may have guessed already. This is Brazil over here. So Brazil, it is located in South America, and it is the largest country in South America, okay? The largest country in the Southern Hemisphere. So your first task I'm going to ask you to do today is, I'll move out the way again, subheading, where is Brazil? And I want you to write a paragraph describing the location of Brazil. So in this paragraph, the minimum you must talk about, you can add more detail, that's never a problem, but the minimum you're going to say the continent, the hemisphere, the ocean that it is along, how it relates to the equator, and which countries border Brazil. So guys, pause the video and please complete your paragraph. Perfect. So now that we know where Brazil is, let's take a little look at a map of Brazil. So this one is going to take a little bit of your time. Normally I would give you a template and a handout and I would ask you to complete. Because I'm not there, I can't do that. So guys, what I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to ask you to do your best. And I know it's not an art class, but do your best to draw a map of Brazil. Create your own map. In or on this map, it must include at least 5 cities, 2 rivers, areas that are covered in forest, and areas that have mountains. Okay, so guys, you can find this one here can give you a little bit of a help, but you may need to look online yourself on Google Maps to help you to do a bit of research. So guys, your next task, please pause the video and create your own map of Brazil. Again, it doesn't have to be very complex, a simple map so you can get a basic idea of the geography of the country. So pause the video and please complete. So, perfect. Now we have a bit of a knowledge about the geography and where things are. Let's move on to the topic. Physical geography of Brazil. So again, when you think of Brazil, what physical geography comes to mind? What is the country like? Okay, what features does it have? So I will again ask you to pause this video and I want you to put down what comes to mind when you think of Brazil, and then we'll go through some together. Okay, so let's compare. Let's see what you got and see how it matches up to the reality. So, beaches. Of course, beaches, coast, mountains are things which people think of when they think of Brazil. Can anyone tell me which city is shown in this photo? If you said Rio de Janeiro, give yourself a pat on the back. Another feature, waterfalls, okay? Does anyone know the name of these waterfalls? You may have added them to your previous map. Iguazu waterfalls. You have hundreds of waterfalls in the middle of the forest, an amazing place. Countryside. So it's not all forest and beaches. Brazil has lots of green hills and countryside and farms. Deserts. Here we can see a desert in the north of Brazil, Lençóis Maranhenses, and also huge mountains. So this again, north of Brazil, mountains which are above the clouds. So quite diverse, but probably the first thing that people would think of when they talk about physical geography is this. If you put down the Amazon rainforest, you would have put down probably the most famous physical feature of the country. So your task now, you're going to be looking at the Amazon rainforest. Oh, don't worry about that. Oh, you can see some animals here. So your task, please complete the questions on the side. So questions 1 to 9. I want you to research online or use your own knowledge, and I want you to complete questions 1 to 9 about the Amazon rainforest. So pause the video and please complete. Okay, so now that we have a bit of knowledge about the Amazon, let's move on. So today you've learned a bit about the Amazon, but Brazil is not all rainforest, far from it, okay? Over 80% of Brazilians live in cities, okay? And you may remember some of the mega cities from last term. Some of them are located in Brazil. There are probably around 10 to 12 cities in Brazil that are bigger than Doha. So just in one country, 10 to 12. The people living in these cities has risen dramatically since the 60s, and Brazil has expanded its industry. So Brazil has one of the biggest industries in the world at the moment. And the economy is growing fast at the moment. It's in a recession. It's not in a very good place economically. But if we look at it over a longer distance, there has been a huge increase in the Brazilian economy. Okay, so whilst the Amazon makes up an important part, if you speak to a Brazilian on the street, generally none of them or very few of them will have been to the Amazon. From my friends who were in Brazil, I know maybe 1 or 2 people that have visited the Amazon. So it's not something very common. It's more for international tourists. And what does this mean for Brazil? So finishing up for today, we're going to look more at the cities in our next class, but what does this change, this growth mean for Brazil? It means there is a lot of wealth in Brazil. Cities are growing and developing, but not every person is benefiting from this growth. There is a lot of poverty as well, so there's a big gap. And the money is being used to try and make Brazil improve in terms of public transport, employment, houses and services. But again, in the last maybe 5 years, there has been a big slowdown in this because of the Brazilian economy. Conditions are actually going backwards in a lot of places. So As our introductory lesson for Brazil, I would like you, as your final plenary, I want you to write down 5 things you have learned from today's lesson about Brazil. And please then remember, take the photos and send to me so I can mark them. I hope you enjoyed the class, and I look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow. Goodbye.